So this is a sort of self-imposed task. Uh, we posted a bunch of videos already, and we noticed we never really introduced ourselves. So a lot of people know us, but even the people that know us don't even really know what we're doing. So I guess it's time for having a talk about who are we and what are we doing and why are we doing what we're doing. Maybe we go start out with like a physical intro of yeah, what?
I think maybe it's important, like where we started together, that we are a family of 5. We have 3 kids. We had Gigi when she was, we had her
when she was just a newborn.
Just
really,
a newborn.
It's crazy.
When I was just 26, and then we had our son Luka when I was 27, just about 28, and we had our daughter Zora when I was about 37. So they are now 18, 16, and 6. And I would say for me what was important from the beginning was, first of all, that I knew that we had to be together, that there was long history of connection and love and experience, and that we would have kids together. And so as we started to have children, we always questioned the education system. And I mean, this is just a very brief summary, but that's a part of it that got us moving. We were always in conflict with the education calendar, the school year, the system itself, what's happening in public schools, large classes, all these kinds of things. So we really started to talk about alternatives, and we thought about homeschooling until our 2 kids got to be about that age, and I thought there's no way I could raise them and feed them and teach them. And eventually we started learning about unschooling, which was at first sounding totally ridiculous and crazy to us. I think we were just like, what? How does that work? That's way outside of the box. But then we started paying attention to it, feeling into it, and playing around with it. Do you want to share some?
Well, yeah, I guess that's partly the energy that I carry, and I think we also carry as a couple. The questioning of things that are just the way they are, like of institutions which are sort of reflections of like a common agreed upon belief, and they have never really worked for me so well. And maybe like a little side to, I mean, we did do the American dream and try to fit in, and had our little house in a beautiful little alternative village, and sent our kids to Waldorf school, and had a bunch of beautiful friends, and parties on the porch, and play music and all that stuff, and work in professions that we really enjoyed. But then at some point there was, and that's, I would say, like pinpointed like about like 3-4 years ago, where we decided, of not even, I don't even know if we decided, but we realized there's more to it. I could have more of what I created here. Say, maybe I went half through my life, so the other half I could just like try to maintain it and hold on to it as long as I can, and leave a good looking life behind when I die. But instead there was something like knocking on the door that wanted to be expressed and felt. And while I was holding on to what I had, I was like, maybe I can feel it out somehow, and I can somehow connect with what is calling me while I'm still doing holding on to my beautiful life frame. But it wasn't working.
And I would say that's always been it. I remember a long time ago, we would say, isn't there more? There's got to be more. Is it about, is this what it's about? Get up every morning and try to get your kids to eat fast enough so they can go to school on time, and go 5 days a week all day, and come home to have homework and scramble to get food in their mouths for dinner, and then clean up and get everyone in bed, and then there's not a whole lot of quality time in the day. And so partly it was the school system that was helping us feel like, oh, this doesn't feel like what it's all about. So we've always had that feeling that there's more, and it was really, 3 or 4 years ago that we realized that there really is more, and we have to step into it. It's not just going to happen if we keep doing the same, the system that we were doing before, which was like being a gerbil in a wheel, just spin, 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 never really.
Basically, it comes down to the difference of holding on what we have, because it's somehow working, but then there's not much movement. You're holding on to it, it becomes sort of rigid, or very sluggish or stagnant. And have been like allowing flowing, so we just kind of let go of in the first place of all kinds of possessions, and maybe maybe the turning point of where I experienced, I have to really let go of what I have to receive what is waiting for me. So it had to be like a full-on commitment in order for it to be revealed to me. That was probably 3.5, 4 years ago when I went into the Amazon jungle for a few weeks to go into deep work, sort of vision quest work with a group of people, and at the same time when I was experiencing. And that's what I did. I have sell everything I have and move into the Amazon. It was pretty much the same time.
Well, while he was away and I was at home with the kids and kind of moving through the day, I was hearing a voice that was saying, "Get rid of everything, sell the house." And I was a little. It was a little distressing, really, because we had just made plans to. We put Luka back in school for 7th and 8th grade, promising to stay there for 7th and 8th grade, and now it was going to mean, we're not staying. We just made this commitment, and we're going to have to change that again. And what does that mean? Get rid of everything and sell the house? That doesn't sound very secure.
And we had a lot of stuff.
And we had a lot of stuff.
Both artists, I'm working with wood a lot. You with everything really, but fabric,
every
studio
possible.
built, in tons of material, barns of artifacts, and there's a lot of stuff. Hockey gear, bicycling gear, soccer gear, the works, winter gear,
lots of books, toys for kids, handmade stuff everywhere. A lot of sentimental value stuff too.
Yeah.
And this voice was it was a voice. It was coming to me or through me or into me, and it was loud, and it happened 3 times while he was in Peru, where I would actually stop and look around okay, who is talking? But this voice kept saying, "Get rid of everything, sell the house." And when he emailed me the last day he was in the jungle getting ready to leave, he said, "I don't really know how this is going to feel for you, but if we follow my intuition, we need to get rid of everything and sell the house." And I actually did manage to freak out for about 10 minutes, oh my God.
3 minutes, I'd say.
Okay, 3 minutes. And then I already knew it. I said, "Yeah, okay, let's do it."
And my dream really was, it was beautiful that we experience it at the same time, in a lot of things we do. That's our deep connection. It does help a lot to be with somebody who forever, But then part of my my dream, I think my deepest desire forever was to just walk this earth, one foot in front of the other, with maybe just a loaf of baguette and a bottle of wine and a block of cheese, and then just walk, and see what happens. And in a way, that's then what we started doing, really letting go first of the physical, and just okay, let's go to Peru, but not with the attachment. Let's move there and root down and live there the second half of our life. But as now we're in Peru, see what happens, and if it feels good, we stay here. If it doesn't feel good, we move on. So very traveling very light, and that's also with that readiness and with that stepping up into full commitment. What happens if we surrender consciously into the flow? A lot of clarity is coming, and a lot of shit is coming up too.
It's true, all kinds of things, but because the clarity comes up, the shit can really be worked through, because you're not just bombarded by distractions and maintenance and all the things that our stuff can, the energy that our stuff can hold around us and for us. So it was really great to be clear of that. So we travel with carry-on backpacks now, like maximum size carry-on, and then a day pack, so that we don't have to check anything in. And that's kind of our stuff. We have some things stored at my parents' house under a ping pong table.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a few things elsewhere, like our bikes, our camping gear, and a little 2 boxes of fabric. These kinds of things. They're still out there, but for the 5 of us, it's not very much stuff considering what we used to have, and it's been very freeing. And now I realize I don't need more than what I have. I don't need more than what keeps me warm in cold weather, what might keep me dry in wet weather, and some ability to get food as long as I'm an eating being, which is the case right now.
Like if you see us in the same clothes on each video, that is not it's our clothes, I guess.
Yeah.
I also want to say that it probably, we're talking about letting go of physical possessions. What does it mean anyways, possessions? So I start questioning what does it mean to possess something? Can we really? And so I'm every little thing that I'm doing like starts a whole new process of transformation. And then there's emotional attachments, and I feel like through letting go of the physical stuff that we hold on to, there's more space to dig into the emotional stuff, and what do we really want to hold on to, or what happens if we let go of old patterns and programs. And that's a big part of what we work with also, like deprogramming to this question. Always go beyond question, put it on the table, make it transparency is a major keyword, make it transparent. Don't hold on to like hidden patterns and programs that steer our lives and control what we do and how we think and how we react, but make that
knowing it
transparent without being aware of it. Being conscious, using attention and go on deep and see what else we can let go other than just the physical stuff, which is I think it's just a preparation for the work we do now.
Yeah, I think so. I think that when we let go of all of those physical things, we started to really have the opportunity to move into what he's talking about, and that was really, it was even kind of surprising to me. It's like, wow, I am well on my way. I've let go of so much stuff, and then things start to arise within me, and I felt like, oh, come on, I've already released so much attachment. I've already practiced so much detachment. And this is something interesting for me, is that I realized that in practicing detachment in the physical realm, I was not only detaching myself from the things around me, but there was an energy of a lot of people around me who were holding attachment for me, who felt like I shouldn't let go of the things that I have, who were afraid of me to be letting go of the things that I have.
We are triggering stuff in other people by what we do with our lives.
Right. And so it was not only my sentimental attachment to something that was holding this thing with me, it was also somebody else's need for me to maintain attachment that was helping hold that with me, that this collective energy. No, we need stuff. You got to keep your stuff. Don't get your stuff. Don't get rid of your stuff. If you start letting go of those things, it might look like I should be letting go of my things, and I'm not ready to do that, or whatever it is. But
afraid, fear, oftentimes.
Quite so many layers. That's what I'm trying to say, is that it's not just the beginning of it was not just physically detaching from our things. It was energetically so many other things also, which then allowed us to move into this internal work more steadily.
Goes on and on, yeah.
Yeah.
Co-creating. Yeah, now what we do is, and more, it's been a process, but we've come to the place of a lot of flow, I want to say, or where everything reveals itself to me as flow or non-flow, stuckness, stagnation. And if it's stagnation, I take a deeper look at it and see how I can release it so it can flow again. Because in that flow, we have found also joy and love, and it's so easy to be present because there's no chatter going on what should or shouldn't happen or what else we have to do, and yeah, the kids have to go to school and all that stuff. It's actually fairly empty up there, you know. You could listen to it, you know, but now we are actually experiencing freedom, true freedom, and that manifests, and we live in the place that we want to live in. Like we just came back and lived in Bali for 1.5 years, and we might very well move back. I don't know, you know, like it doesn't really matter. We're in the flow, whatever comes up next. Now we are giving or offering a retreat in Ibiza, October 14th to the 20th, all about flow and heart expansion. So I guess we have something rigid in there, you know. That's but even that is, it seems like totally in the flow also, you know, and born out of the flow, which is also important. The energy that it's born out of is also the energy of the actual manifestation, big part of the creation, no?
Yeah. And the retreat itself is dealing with a lot of the things that we have come to learn in this flow and letting go. And that is what Bjorn was talking about, going in deeper, letting things rise up, systems that are engaged in our being that we're not even aware of. And that includes, and maybe even beyond that, looking out into the world and just being able to really question everything. Like,
nothing's taboo.
Nothing's taboo, and nothing is permanent. Nothing's permanent. Everything's changing. For example, I mean, we could look into DNA, and both of us probably feel like, yeah, and DNA is changing too. You know, it's a belief. It's a scientific belief that DNA is DNA, and you get what you get from it. And genetics are passed down, and we've gone into those realms, realizing that everything's possible. Things are movable, changeable, and the world is wide open, and that is part of the freedom that we have now. The world is wide open. We are really embodying this self-love and responsibility, and showing up and learning how to be really present, and what do I want to say? Taking responsibility for our part in our life. And so it's boiled down to a lot less of, they shouldn't do that, and that shouldn't have happened, and because they did this, now I'm hurting, or whatever it is. It's always coming back to here, which is also an incredible freedom, combined with the knowing that anything's possible, that DNA, scientifically, it's a story about, you know, who we are, but that it's also a part of the changing energy and movement.
And if you can change DNA, what can you not change? Like we also experienced that like there is a lot of the stories that we believe in, like our reality, it's made of stories and myth. So we also I demythify, if that's a word, you know. I go in there and like look at it as a story, like that goes to it is for the self, you know. How can is it okay to love myself? Is it okay to feel complete? Goes over to a relationship. Can we be in a relationship that is not codependent, but it's based on freedom? We can do whatever we want to, and be a couple. As a family, do the kids have to go to school? If they don't go to school, will they terribly fail? in this society. It goes to a professional place, like by allowing ourselves to be in the flow. And we're creating such beautiful things that are so inspiring that we're also extremely successful in what we are doing as work, if you want to call this play work, which I think it's a new paradigm that we bring everything that we are and share it rather than trying to get everything we can from somewhere else so we feel a little better and not given really much of a shit how anybody else feels about it as long as we prosper. So going away from an old paradigm of taking away an exploitation to a place of living and expressing your dream and experiencing what you want to experience and share that. So from separation to being whole and being connected. And that also, I was going to say, is I also even not sure if we even have to die anymore. I mean, that's like even eternal life is possible as far as that is concerned. We can choose. I feel I have the strong feeling that I can choose when I'm done with this, and then I'm just gonna disappear.
I think the more we know that we can choose, the more we can choose. When we don't know that we can choose, we're not choosing consciously anyway. But I wanted to add to what you were saying, this taking until you have enough. But there's the other side of that too, the give in order to
right.
In
Same
order
energy.
to be enough. It is kind of the same energy, and there's a place in between where you can really rest peacefully in taking and giving and it's the flow. It is the flow.
The flow.
It is magical, and it is it can be instantaneous, this like you think of something and it appears, and you can feel when that energy is happening. I got a little off track there.
Yeah, it's cool. It's all part of it, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. There is nothing that isn't part of it. It is all inclusive. And that's also it. We didn't like leave the box behind. We just expand and expand. We just like, all these walls, and we try to fit ourselves into it, and it's like we don't really fit in there, in the box. Well, you don't have to like throw that box away. You can keep it. You just kind of like gently push over the walls, and then you just walk beyond the limitations of the box.
And the next walls,
Ever
because
expanding.
they keep showing up too, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, we keep...
More space, but there's still
still things come up and you go, I have believed that steadily until this very moment. And just now is the first time that I look at it and say, wait a minute, why do I believe this? Is this real? What is this? Oh, it might just be a wall. Or maybe I do still believe it. But really often those things come up. And when I finally come to the place of questioning it, it's usually because it can be questioned. It is not set in stone. Nothing is, I think. It's my reality.
It's okay to question, huh?
And it is so okay to question, because when you question, you actually get to a deeper part of yourself. You start to really know more about... I think only through questioning, maybe that's not true, can you really... if you just sit with something in front of you, you just sit there. You might look at it. But if you don't move around it and see what's behind it and underneath it, inside of it, you might not ever get beyond that. It might stay the same. Stagnancy can be lovely, but it's not.
Right.
It's a kind of stagnancy, maybe.
And that depends on what people want. We're just very drawn by like having more perspective and expand more and more to experience what happens when we expand. And if people are, that's the other thing, if people are really happy with where they're at and they're really like, I live here and I want to die here, this is awesome. I have my full respect and love, and I will not try to change anything or talk you into anything. I have no point to make. What we do is we share our experience, really. We go through so much stuff, like every day is like a mind-blowing experience. So we share it, and then people can do whatever they want with it. And we are open for questions. We love to talk, we love to share, but we don't have to.
Yeah, I think we're really, I've been really realizing, I've known this always, but it's in the past few months that I've been realizing how much I really appreciate our differences between me and other people. I really, the judgment that I used to have, some of it may show up once in a while still, but it's less and less. And for the most part, I'm looking out there and seeing things that are beautiful and seeing things that are really not so beautiful, more uncomfortable. And I am more able to look at it and say, yeah, this is all a part of who I am right now in this moment. This is all a part of what I'm experiencing, and it is all awesome in a way, you know, even the uncomfortable parts, which can be really difficult and painful. I have greater and greater appreciation for the differences. I don't want everybody to do what I do. I don't want to tell anybody that they should get rid of their things and travel around with a carry-on or take their kids out of school or anything like that. I'm just really happy with what I'm doing, what we're doing together.
And to that, like, yeah, for example, we have people in Viroqua, very, very dear friends, and they're holding space there, and I'm so glad that they do. And then when we show up, we are bringing our experience and share it with them, and they share their space that they held on to, share that with us, so we have a place to stay there from which to operate and from which to hold space in return.
All parts.
So we're working
really
together,
important.
co-creating, and whatever we feel drawn to, that's the work that we bring in.
And if people weren't sending their kids to public school, we wouldn't have very much to talk about. Just kidding.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's really, I mean, it is all of those things in the world that are making this a diverse and amazing place to experience life.
And I'm coming back there also to the end. The differences, it's either this or that. Either you leave everything behind and you travel the world and you're cool, or you stay at home and you're stupid. But it's like, oh, some people go out in the world and experience what we do, and some people stay at home and hold the space there. And it's both totally valid and awesome in its own unfolding. Huh?
Yeah.
And that's, I'm embracing the all more. Some people are white, some people are black. Some people have loud voices, some don't, you know. And it's, why should the quiet people be louder or the louder people be more quiet if they don't want it, if they don't feel it? I don't see a reason for it. I love the awe, and that is the diversity that you're talking about. Huh? Some people go to public school, some people don't. You know, it just is. It is. I don't want to put any effort into putting judgment on that. For myself, yes, not for other people.
I will say that I do still sometimes find myself in attachment to other people's happiness.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I do go there. Like sometimes I just want my kids to be happy,
Yeah.
and then I get in a kind of stuck pattern that isn't really serving them, because then I realize that I'm valuing happiness over all other experiences, and
It's a really good example, yeah.
and that all of them are important, and that we all move through them as we do, as we need to, you might say, but as we do, and it gets then easier for me when I find myself, first of all, in that I just want you to be happy. Then I go into judgment, like, in order to be happy, maybe you want to change something, maybe you want to bring some of this in or take some of this out. When I can come out of that, I come back to your experience right now, your sadness, your discomfort is maybe hard for me to watch, but it is valuable, and what the best thing that I can do is hold you in that space instead of trying to pull you out of it. Because I think the sooner I hold you, my daughter, my son, my honeys, the sooner I'm able to hold them in that space unconditionally, the sooner, well,
They can release whatever it is.
maybe the sooner they can even release it, but ultimately they feel loved in that moment, regardless of what their feelings or actions are.
That's
and
the
the love
healing,
is healing,
healing power, yeah.
Yeah,
And you can do the same thing for yourself too. I mean, like when I experience sadness also, instead of trying to make myself happy again, to recognize, oh, right now I'm sad, and then just experience it. Huh? Like, not with the agenda of getting it over with, but with like total beingness and holding the space for like, okay, right now I'm sad. There we go. and
then it can
you
move.
can cry or whatever needs to be done, and then it moves and can move. And the more we hold on to like how it should look like, and that we should all be happy at all times, and what other people should be doing and all that, it gets extremely complicated.
What other people should be doing. That's really amazing. I mean, there's a lot out there. I certainly have had it, and I might still, what other people should be doing. But it gets clearer to me. It's really not up to me what anybody else should be doing, ever.
But it's totally up to us what we want to recognize within ourselves, and acknowledge, and how consciously we want to show up in our daily life, every moment, consciously. The more conscious I am, the more I am experiencing and creating my experience. So there's no random, there's no accidents in my life. It's all created, it's all manifested, and the moments where I'm not conscious, I'm creating also. But then I'm totally surprised at what's coming back, because I wasn't there when I was doing that, sending out that energy to be manifested. That's the difference.
It brings a whole new kind of vitality and freedom, as we said. And what else is it? There was another word that had such good feeling in it. I mean, not just good, but this expansiveness. Like I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. That is the freedom. I don't have to be a victim. I can choose to be really free at any given moment, and I still don't always choose it, but I do love that I have access to it now, and more awareness that it is there as a choice for me.
So at this point, I would say, like, I remember this is the introduction. This is not even just like shooting a breeze, but it's kind of the same thing, I guess. This is who we are. Every moment. This is one of the moments of expressing ourselves, of experiencing what we experience, and sharing it. And that is as good as an introduction as telling you all the physical circumstances of our life.
And I would just add specifically things that we're working on are conscious communication, alive, awake relationships, unschooling the family, how to live outside of the prearranged systems, the socially acceptable systems that kind of cage us, and really that kind of adds up to everything in my book. I mean, there's just everything encompassed in that. How do you look at you can look at every moment of your life and really look at it with curiosity and say, how does this feel? What do I want to feel? Why do I feel this? And move through. So it's a pretty big picture, I guess.
Yeah. So wrap it up. One thing that I want to add is, like, if you are interested in either working with us, or if you want us to talk or come in the area or offer workshops or so, just contact us. It's right now you can do that. I'm in the process of putting up a webpage, bjornleonards.com, and it is for a platform for the two of us, or on Facebook or whatever. Get a hold of us. We're happy to share what we experience with people that are ready to step up, step out, and be alive, feel alive.
Yeah, that's what we love to do.
Exactly. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah. All right, that's it, huh?
See you soon.
Ciao.
Much love.